You have just 60 to 90 days to course correct.
Word of mouth is the holy grail.
If you're not building awareness in 30 seconds or less, you are.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Get the Money. My name is John Connie, co-host of the show and stoked member of the GTM firm. In today's episode, we dive into end of Q1 and the thoughts that might come up as it relates to your funnel. Are the gutters clean? Is there anyone drowning at the pool? Should there be any changes that you make to prepare for Q2, Q3, and so on? Whether you're sitting down to watch this whole episode or you're listening to it on your commute, I hope you enjoy the episode.
All right. Wow, my God, I can't even believe Q1 is over in 90 days. It had been about 110 days ago. We were all celebrating Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is that you'd be doing. And it's hard to believe that 90 days has passed us by. And many of you are probably wondering, how's my funnel? What's going on? Did I hit my quarter? Do I have the pipeline coverage? Where are the leads coming from? Is my ecosystem operating? Is it time to prune my channel? Is my channel the right channel? I mean, these are all the questions I would be asking myself, because guess what? You have just 60 to 90 days to course correct your pipeline to make sure that you have a good year. Otherwise, I got to be honest, you're probably screwed unless you get some bluebirds or big deals falling into place. And I can tell you that's not a great place to be, which is why at the firm, we only focus on growth and tactics. And that's why last year, I probably hit about 25 different events, and I've talked to, and I'm going to say this word, many of you aren't going to believe me, more than 5,000 individual interviews, some cataloged, some not. And those ranged from in line at a clear line asking everyone, is biometrics the way of our future? And what if you could sail through life like this? I was blown away when people tell you, I don't want my picture taken. So while we're working on biometrics, and we'll get there, I will also tell you that I went to big events that people pay $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to attend. It's the same message resonated. I sat down. We're not learning anything coming to them. Well, guess what? It's the 101s. What would you learn from people that are doing things for the first time? The pioneers. You hope you don't get out there on the frontier and you take a lethal arrow. They are being fired at you. On that note, what I want to do is we at the firm are really focused on taking real world stories, transitioned into video elements that we know people want to consume, and tell the truth about what's happening with products. And the reason that we say that is we see these same things happening in the consumer world. Listen, 25 years ago, maybe 35, if an influencer was a role, I would have figured out how I got there, because today that's exactly what we need in the enterprise. Who can we trust and what can we do? So back to your pipeline, top of the funnel, those events, they're meant to be able to stimulate interest, get you out there. I want to know, do you have the right event strategy? Are you attacking it? Are you doing the pre, middle, and post? Because an event has a funnel associated with you too. So as I looked about that, I don't think most orgs need more content. What they really need are crisper metrics, what's working, tracking those breadcrumb trails, push, rinse, repeat, which is why we had two of our companies last year grow at over 400%. That's just not some crazy number. The CEOs are posting and talking about it. We're proud of those moments because that's what we call chopping wood. And on those, we're going to talk about the top of the funnel and some of the events. I'm going to pass it over to my partner, Keith, who's in love with the top, middle, and the bottom of the funnel. But today he's going to talk about what are the activities we see happening that are stimulating interest to get people onto your website. Keith, take it away.
When you are talking about video and how video is replacing this form of communication with written words and things like that, it starts with a fundamental goal of getting people interested, excited about what you're doing. So we focus on helping founders, what we call super founders, really come up with a really compelling story, a story that's going to break through all the noise that's out there, right? So how do you come up with a compelling story? It's understanding your audience or the ICP and then developing the right messaging that evolves into a great story that you can then map to that customer journey or the buying process. How do I win over the champion, the user, the recommender, the specifier, the check writer? I want to be able to influence each step of the customer buying process. The best way to do that, get your name out there, get a story that people will remember, and that helps facilitate word of mouth. Word of mouth is the holy grail. If you get to know me, my brand, what we do, think about how much faster you run this race than if you always have to walk in and introduce somebody to, here's my company. This is what we do. This is, you know what I mean? So what we want to do is really work with that founder. And then we have John come in and help them be, let's say, camera cozy. right? How do they get comfortable? Because you got to have a good story and have it really look like you have leadership, confidence, that you're friendly in front of the camera and you're not nervous. So that's what really helps the story as well. And you want it to be natural. So I want to add that too. So we're not talking about really over scripting and staging. So John, do you want to maybe comment about that?
So if a video is the new 30-second email, is the TikTok style moving to the enterprise?
Yeah, so I would say that more so than ever, video is the medium of consumption, right? Where we all love to sit down and watch. And it used to be sit down and watch 30 minutes of TV, 15 minutes, maybe an hour, because, Netflix brought in the longest form with some of their episodes. But we're seeing that come back because TikTok is probably the highest consumed platform right now. And it's because it's so quick and everybody has the worst attention span possible. So we need to be able to grab that attention as quickly as possible. And with that in mind, you create the content in that form. Right. But the other part of this too is you still want to have some sort of long form piece to it, because the way to capture that natural aspect is to have conversations. What we're doing right here, we're having a long form conversation. And at the end of it, we're going to have a bunch of little snackable pieces. And those are likely going to be the ones that people consume. We're going to throw a snackable piece here, a snackable piece there. And wherever that audience sits, we're going to grab their attention because we're talking about something relevant, rather than having them wait potentially 15 minutes before they finally get to the...
I like how you break it up, John. To my point about matching up the snackables with the buying process too, there's a time to talk tech. There's a time to be an evangelist. There's a time to talk implementation, usage, and some of those details. I also like your reference to TikTok. Now, clearly we're talking to a B2B audience, right? Super techy, super geeky. TikTok is known for consumer, but I feel like that's a great goal, to be like TikTok viral worthy. You know what I mean? Set the bar high that your content is engaging and that would be something exciting for anyone to see. And then, oh, by the way, you're talking to another technical person, but you're doing so in a very compelling, engaging way. That's a good reference.
Yeah, Keith, I think Father Time called you and they wanted to bring you back to really answer the question. The problem isn't necessarily that. It's that the buyer's age has changed. Today's buyer was born in 1985. They grew up on TikTok. It's not a transition. That's all they know and what they want. So this is where I'll say this is where the ships are passing in the night. And why do I know that? I can tell you what companies are struggling by going to their website and looking at LinkedIn, and no, they don't know what they're doing. They just don't. And you can tell that because it doesn't grab, because they're talking to yesterday's audience. The buyer's changed. The new ultimate buyer is the CFO. I don't care what anyone says, regardless of the CEO or the decision maker, because there's only $1 to spend. And in that dollar, everyone's got to get fed and things need to be facilitated. But on that note, so as we fill the top of the pipeline, I didn't mean to poke you in the eye with that note, Keith, but I think it's something people don't pay attention to, is video is the new top of the funnel. If you're not building awareness in 30 seconds or less, yeah, I said that word. Yes, you're behind. You know what I was going to say. Anyway, on that note, Ben, so I'm getting people in the top of the funnel. And recently we found a lot of what for those of you who've ever heard me talk, you may hear me refer to these Bobbyisms. Leads are like children and they got to be nurtured and cared for. And you spend that money to actually have those leads come in, that you have to care for them. So I like the analogy of these are kids by the pool. Don't let them drown. Make sure they can swim. And someone's got to be the lifeguard paying attention always. So Ben played the role of lifeguard. Tell us what you did.
Absolutely, Bobby. Thanks. Yeah, I love the lifeguard analogy. Totally makes sense. And, it goes to, for the middle of the funnel, we're looking at pressure testing the pipeline. What's real? What's fluff? So a lot of this is we focus on what's real. How many deals pushed from 2023? For a project we were working with in the last couple months, they had a lot of their funnel that wasn't real. Deals that have been pushed 2+ quarters, deals that at this point in time, if it's been going on since 2023, that's not real. That's not going to close. That's not going to happen. Don't dismiss the red flags as well. When looking at these systems, these CRMs to Salesforce and the connective tissue between them, at this specific engagement, what had happened was people were just taking it as the gospel. This is what the system said. It surely can't be broken. It doesn't take a subject matter expert, though, to go in there and click on a couple people, do some searching at this leads. And what we found was 75 leads could be manually added into Salesforce from HubSpot. These people were requesting quotes, downloading content, having severe interest in what we were doing. But because no one went in and did the dirty work, cleaning the gutters, as I want to call it, that connective tissue never happened.
The system's not connected, man. Like, how did you discover that? Tell me about your process. So you mentioned Salesforce, so that was one thing. Was it all happening in there? Were they trying to connect multiple systems? Was there no one in charge of air traffic control and they were colliding like planes in DC? Like, what's happening?
Sure. Yeah. So it lived in HubSpot, right? Their CRM tool that they had where the marketing contacts came in, people requested forms, they had engagement, responded to emails. But what happens is a lot of times these systems don't speak. So you can have someone come in and set up the tissue, but a lot of times the salespeople in the company, they don't know how that works. So what happened was people would download content, sign up for webinars, and maybe they get put on a mailing list, but they would have to re-raise their hand, fill out a demo request form. And it takes someone to go into the CRM tool to check out what people are doing. Click on this contact. What happened to that person? Just test the flow of what's going on. And what you'll see is oftentimes there are interested people emailing you back, requesting that aren't flowing through. With this one in particular, there was a duplication error that was causing people who filled out this specific form to not flow through naturally. And all it took was someone to go into the system, say, hey, that doesn't look right. That's a red flag. Is that kid drowning at the pool? I'm the lifeguard. It's my job. So I'll jump in the water. I'll check it out. It turned out 75 leads in one day that could be added and hundreds more just by spending a couple hours on this. So doesn't take a subject matter expert, doesn't take someone who is totally familiar with the systems, just clean the gutters every once in a while.
This is the perfect example of the important purpose of a role called RevOps. And most startups are not going to have either the money, the understanding, or the know-how to realize the importance of that. And we'll give you a good example. John and I went to work at this company that had a great successful exit to some $1 trillion valuation company. You all know who that is. And when we met with the CEO, the very first thing he said to me was, Bobby, I'm so excited the Bessemer part brought me here. I know what you did over at Twilio. We want you to help us grow like crazy rocket ships too. Immediately, you heard Ben talk about pressure testing the pipeline. That's probably much the simplest thing to do when you're an experienced doctor. Because as you look at the pipeline, you're immediately going to know who is a patient and who is not a patient, who's a faker and who's a taker. And quickly, I got to say, Georgia Pacific's never buying from you. No, please don't take these companies' bad words. I just know 4 years ago, you had no data scientists on staff, so there was no way in hell you were purchasing the products. So by understanding what actually needs to happen in enterprise for you to consume the technologies, you can see who's a buyer, who's a taker, who's a faker. And to Ben's point, we cleaned up half their pipeline. Now, John, to your importance there, the middle to the bottom of the funnel, what did we do through our focus on ICP? Within 6 months, we added more customers than the previous 5 years combined. That put Ocare on the map. That got us to the reInvent trade show with names like Capital One and Chase and FINRA that everyone in the world goes, I need that now, which created the bidding war for Databricks to buy them. So we set the company up so that people would have FOMO by telling these video created stories and took a TikTok moment 3 years ago to market. So maybe we were just a little early. But with that, the bottom of the funnel's got to be the hardest part to close. The ROI, the sponsors, is there budget? Where's the budget coming from? And so trade show season's coming up and we're thinking pressing flesh will be the fastest, easiest way for you to get to decision makers, for you to talk about that. And so we're going to have a busy spring into summer, I believe. Kicking off with today, Google Next.
And I wanted to throw something in really quick about middle funnel and how that kind of affects what you're looking at for video. Because as we talk about video being such an important piece of basically all parts of the funnel, at that middle point, if the connective tissue is not there, you're going to feel like the ROI is not there for the investment in video, because video can be very expensive depending on what you're trying to achieve. And I've had moments where people didn't think it was working, but what they didn't realize is they couldn't attribute what was coming from video. They couldn't really truly test it unless they asked the person, hey, how'd you find us? So if you don't have the connective tissue there, you're not going to be able to say this video brought us this person, or this video or this webinar brought us these registrations. So making sure that the health is there for that will then set you up for a better bottom of funnel. Understanding what worked so that you can rinse and repeat. And to the point of this conversation, Q1 is over, but let's analyze the funnel. Where's the pieces that we should be adjusting, and what's working, and what do we need to refresh to ensure that next quarter's funnel is actually working? And if you're thinking about that now, you might not be doing too well for Q2. You might want to start thinking about that, the third leg of Q1 before Q2 starts.
John, you're onto a really important topic, and I'll share some research I was doing yesterday. Sales and marketing costs are going up and budgets for them are going down, which is actually then translating into, of course, lower sales because the ROI is not there. And what I hear you saying is that we could do pipeline audits and break down top, middle funnel, and then actually be prescriptive on what you can do to dial those things up. Have we done that for any companies in the past?
We have.
All right. So on that note, we got a few future topics we're going to talk about. Did AI kill the SDR, EBRs? Should they have ever been around? Why are we still using 20-year-old tactics to meet 20-year new technologies? What are those video tactics that are going to now enable buyers, sponsors, and people to know that you're trustworthy? More importantly, trade show prep. Are you trade show ready? I'll give you an example. One company we're working with, I went a little sideways this week going, how come 1/3 of our current customers are in the security business and you have no plans for RSA in 3 weeks? Why would you not swim where the fishes are that like what you do, right?
I mean, that's a big deal. We've run into that many times. Hey, founder, why are you just now thinking of that? Because I got an email and it's they're trying to register. It's like, well, we should know these important events that are coming up that are really, really in line with what you're trying to do.
John, that's why we profess setting up the office of the CMO, which is actually that figurehead that coalesces all of this information and truly acts as the North Star to the voice of the company and that marketing lead. And if, in that particular case, if we had that deployed there, it wouldn't have happened because we're 2-3 quarters out knowing what's happening. And as some of these startup founders go, look, every day is a knife fight and they're just worried about the next day, the next day, the next day.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess a way to close this off is if you're a founder and you don't have a marketing lead, you don't have a sales lead, you're still working through this startup angst. You need that fractional support. You need the office of the CMO. Maybe you need the office of the CTO. Most founders or tech founders are tech founders. So
we're bridging a couple comments here too. One is that the field marketing budget is the place to be right now. Pressing flesh, I've seen it from multiple data sources, Bobby, along the lines of research, but just talking to marketing and salespeople, getting out to events where their core audiences are is a great way to develop a full relationship and qualify and convert at a much higher level. So that's a great compliment with video again, but nailing the story and the tactic is fundamental.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to go out and create video and just expect, a bunch of traffic. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Just because you build it doesn't mean they're going to come. But it's the idea of expecting a tech founder to think of these things is probably the biggest gap that needs to be filled. And that's why a fractional office of the CMO or even a fractional employee who knows what they're doing is going to be huge for these people because they're trying to tell a story from the tech side. They need somebody to come in and help them create more of a story that can reach more audiences, more people. They might ultimately be the decision maker, but they still need that voice that understands how to create a little more whimsy out of your tech.
Yeah, a lot of times that startup company, they have a marketing person, but maybe not a field marketing person, maybe not an event marketing or event manager or a video person. So having these skills at the ready and part of at that table of that office of the CMO table is a huge resource.
So you're assuming two things. One, that tech founder worked at a company where those roles existed, that they interface with them to understand the actual importance for the company to succeed, number one. Number two, that they could appreciate the contributions of those roles at this point of the company.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think
those are two very difficult things.
Those are an XY axis. I think every founder goes is, do I need it? Do I understand it? And if they did, they'd already be there because, okay, take a look at this, Keith. I know you know this because we talked to him. Second time founder out of the super founder group. We talked to him. He went to raise his second company after his first one. And before he wrote his first line of code, he talked to more than 1,500 people. How big was his first raise? $100 million, people. Why? He did the homework. He chopped the wood. He did the hard work. He understood the market before he even went out. Now, why is that?
Second time founder, he's got a little leverage.
Well, not just that. But we're going to help first time founders think about those things because they don't know what they don't know. Those false starts can be prevented. Don't touch fire. You get burnt. Get out in front of a train. You're getting hit. Like all of these things are true. Yeah. Sugar causes diabetes. No shit.
Some know these things. It's like me. I'm a big boy. I know I shouldn't eat certain foods. I come from the fitness industry. I had a long career as a coach and as a fitness YouTuber. I still love a donut. I still eat a donut. I shouldn't.
Are you Krispy Kreme or Yum Yum or?
No, you got to go to the hole in the walls over here in Rockland. It's Jasmine Donuts.
Okay.
Barrel's Donuts. Those are the right ones because they never change their oil. Give me a French cola from Dunkin' Donuts and I'm good to go.
Yeah, Dunkin' and a coffee to go.
Coffee?
Forget about it.
Thanks for watching or listening. Hope you enjoyed it. If you found a specific part that you really enjoyed, join the conversation on LinkedIn. We're going to do a specific post talking about this episode, and we'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. And if you have any ideas of topics that you'd like to hear featured on this show, let us know in a reply to the email from the newsletter. And if this is your first time here and you want to be first to know when a new episode is out, we've got links down in the description below on places that you can follow and be first to know when something new is coming up. Thanks for watching again. We'll see you on the next one.